Holy shit. I don't know what was going on there. That was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. Ugh. So we're back. We're back and we're going to try to figure this out. For some reason, my browser is messing up, or I have to clear the cache or something on the browser to get something. I don't even know. So until for some reason it was blocking. Um, yeah, it was blocking the whatchamacallit, the uh, hold on, I'm looking at a picture. Okay, this is working like I want it to work. Yeah, it was blocking me from starting a live on Facebook. So I'll have to figure that shit out tomorrow and go from there. Uh, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can keep it rolling. But yeah, as I was saying, for the third time, I am going to try to show some pictures because I wanted to do that whole pattern breakdown thing because and talk about the like the parts of a pattern and how essentially it's a give and take. So if you want more pattern outlining, if you want side banding, that means you're going to get less silver. If you want more black, that means you're going to get less pattern outlining. If you want a lot of black and a lot of pattern outlining, that means you're not going to get much silver. If you want a ton of silver, I mean, we're going to take a look at some pictures if I can fucking manage that. Hopefully we can. So let me take a look at this real quick. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I need a third monitor. I have two monitors. I actually need to invest in a third monitor to do this, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous that I need three monitors to come on here. Uh, what line of Kalatoa? That is R&B line Kalatoa to R&B line Mindanao, which there's only one Mindanao line. So, yeah, it's mine and mine. Both lines are mine. I didn't do the breeding though. My friend did that breeding. Sean did that. He might be on here. Yeah, let me see. Let me see what the fuck's up with. Let me see what the fuck's going on with what you call it. Instagram. How's Yeah? Instagram's going to be a little tough. Instagram might not going to see stuff as well, but we're gonna try to make sure Instagram's seeing what the fuck's going on. But yeah, so we're gonna try this instead of me making a whole giant fucking video. We're gonna try to do a screen share. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna ask for them on price. I don't know what. Whatever. Probably whatever Angie was selling them for. Uh, maybe a little cheaper. I don't know. Maybe we'll just come in and undercut Andrew. Which actually Andrew's not gonna have any this year. I forgot. Andrew's actually not gonna have any Philatoas this year. Um, so I guess that's a non-issue. We're also going to price them kind of based around what they look like. So that's going to be something, because we always, kind of I try to really put, base them around how they look. Does it look like we are going to get R&B line solo clutch this year, or have you given up on that? But they're breeding. They're breeding. She just came out of shed, very swollen. I actually just put the male back in today, so we're gonna see what's up. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I've given up on them in the sense that Mason's coming to get them in the spring, whether I get a clutch or not. I mean, I've given up in that sense. So Yeah, this is my last ditch effort, and I mean, I technically I've already made one because the last time I bred them, I had one hatchling that was all fucking kinked up. I gave it to Devin because Devin wanted it. Super pretty female. She had all kinds of kinks. She was fucking all goofy, but yeah, let's get into some pattern structure. Okay, so the pattern structure essentially consists of three parts. There's the black, which really sets the structure outlining. There's the pattern outlining, and then there's the space in between the rosettes slash pattern outlining that goes up to the back diamonds, which is typically silver or gunmetal blue or gray or whatever. So, um, let's take a couple look. Let's take a couple look at a couple things here. I can't even fucking talk. I felt like shit the last few days. I don't know if I got. I don't go around people, so I don't see how I could have possibly got the flu. But yeah, let's try this. So, dude, I'm fucking pissed that I couldn't get on next gen, but I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna figure out what the fuck that shit was all about. So we'll figure that out. Okay, so I'm gonna try to screen share, which I'll probably fuck this up like 6 times. No, I want this. And I want to go with, I don't know. Let me know how that looks. I'm gonna pull this up. That's not how that works. I'm a retard. Okay. So this was, if you don't know what this snake was, um why is that up there? It needs to be right here. Okay. I am on fucking point, people. So, I don't know. Let me see if you can see this in your other shit. Um, so, yeah, it'll come up in a second here. But this is, I believe they called this a silver web. This was a interesting looking um, retic that hatched out in the Philippines, I believe. And I kind of wanted to show the unique pattern structure of this animal. Uh, oh, okay, yeah. Nobody knew that you were. Yeah, nobody knew that, Celeste. Nobody had a clue that. Yeah, you've been on here a bunch talking, and we had no idea who we were talking to. But I wanted to show this animal because this was a really unique animal that got. I want to say this was hatched out in the Philippines, but I'm sure I have the information somewhere. But anyways, if if you look at this animal, this pattern structure, I love this look. The only thing that could possibly make this look better is if uh, it had a little bit more color. But this is a steady uh, 3 to 4 scales black thick, and this is something that I was trying to create with Fractalis and to some extent Apocalypto, and I had a nice high silver ternate that actually looked very similar to this animal. Black wasn't quite as thick, and she ended up basically getting sick and dying. I think it was a bad rabbit or something. I'm not 100% sure what exactly happened, but unfortunately, she died, and she was part of a huge project that I was working on. But unfortunately, she went to be with Jesus, and so yeah, so that's how that whole project went. Um, but for this type of pattern, you know, the polygenic traits. So I guess we'll hit those. And as you can see, obviously, this has a very significant different set of back pattern structure and black structure to it than a lot of animals, and that's why it looks so nice. But as you can see, like the polygenics on this and what or super genes or whatever is controlling all of this has a very sharp, straight lined back pattern. And as you can see here, like this little bit of color right here. I don't know if you'd see my, you can't because I'm on the wrong fucking screen because I'm an idiot. This little section right here, if you can see my cursor, this has such minimal amount of pattern outlining, and that's where a lot of your color lives. So you're not getting a lot of contrast and wider color spectrum on this animal, which it doesn't matter because this animal blows away like everything ever, pretty much. Um, but you can see a high back diamond count just out of this picture, black inside the back diamond, and you're getting a lot of silver. So because you have relatively thick black here and such thin pattern outlining on the outside of the diamond and a sharp straight fall off right here, you're getting this giant area of silver, which actually kind of complements the whole look. The only way this could be better is if this had like a bright orangish red that came down to here, and then you got a nice bright silver in between. But I'm really splitting hairs there. But let's take a look at another example, and I got to go through these because I'll come back to that one. Okay, here's a Morarate. This is an island. It's the island just north of Halma, and this is a much different overall pattern structure. Obviously, slightly more rounded, noticeably thinner blacks, and look how much different this looks because it has one, the back diamonds don't really connect into the rosette, so the pattern outlining fills in, and then plus you got side banding. So the other ones had this sharp kind of fall off, and with none of this in between, plus the rosettes were much smaller, much rounder, and then all that's left to be filled in here is this little streak of silver. And if you look up here, here's so you're getting this completely different look. And this is a polygenic situation, possible supergene, multi-gene situation that's creating this look. And I talked about a while ago that understanding that there's real estate, you have like area real estate on a retix pattern where you can either have black, you can have pattern outlining, or you can have silver. And like this is kind of two good extreme examples of an animal that, because the black isn't thick enough, black isn't anywhere near as thick here, it doesn't touch down to the rosettes, and you got a bunch of side banding filling in under the rosettes. The rosettes are longer. The result of this trait is you get a significant more amount of the pattern outlining, and that's where a lot of your color lives. So we'll go, hold on, like take a look at that. Then we'll go back again to that. I mean, and these are the things you got to take into consideration if you're really going to start breeding for selective breeding. So, and here's the other thing. You see how the back diamond on this comes down to a point, and the rosette itself doesn't really, see right here, like if you go to this edge of this rosette and take a straight line up, it stays significantly within the back diamond itself. It doesn't expand out, and it doesn't have any of this pattern outlining. So you get this nice high silver, and with these connecting, you also don't get an opportunity for pattern outlining in between the back diamond and the rosette. And one thing I've never seen is this silver area actually like engulfing the rosette itself. It doesn't seem like it can really get into that area too much. Maybe with some morphs and stuff that you can take out some color, but yeah, I mean it's really interesting when you look at break a pattern down based on real estate, right? So you have if you were to just take a little square section and look at it, and you realize, okay, so this has all this black, so we had to forfeit all that pattern outlining, all that color, and it has a very straight peak like structure to it. So the offset of that is high silver. So I mean, dude, this snake here would be great for anything. Well, no, it wouldn't. I mean, it would be great for Anthrax. It'd be great for Aztec. It'd be great for Ocelot. It would be great for Tiger. It would be really good for Marble. And because of how small these rosettes are, this is also going to help avoid a lot of striping. So because of this rosette structure itself, and it's very within the back diamond, much the width of it is much shorter than the overall back diamond. You're not going to get striping. So, and we'll go back to the Morarate, where if you're looking at this thing, if you run a straight line from the edge of this rosette, I mean, it's almost as wide as the back diamond itself, almost as wide. And because of that, and the thinner black, you get all this fill in here. So, like this animal here, this would be great for Sunfire, Platinum, Indo. The other one would be awesome for Indo, but I mean, it'd be awesome for pretty much everything. This is an animal that if you're trying to make shit pop, if you want colors, if you want side pattern, this is an excellent animal for that. But you're also going to, in this situation, there is a decent fall off between like from here to, we'll do it from here to here. So the furthest point down on the back diamond, the whole way over to the furthest point down here on the back diamond, there's a good amount of distance in here. So you might actually be able to avoid some striping with things like Tiger, with things like Ocelot, things like Aztec, all of that stuff. You might be able to get a nice high contrast while not getting too much striping, but this animal itself, you are going to run the risk of some striping for sure. And if you could avoid striping with this animal and you used a marble, this would make an extremely high contrast marble. But once again, with the width of these rosettes, you're also going to run into a possibility of them striping, getting the white stripe on the side. Here's a Kiawati, and this is, a Kiawati is like the perfect example of, real estate. So if we look at like this area here, and it's even, there's even more space in between the rosette and the back diamond. And one of those reasons is obviously the Kiawati has a lot of, has a smaller, tighter back pattern, but it also has thinner black. So we're only looking at like 1 scale thick, where if it was 3 scales thick, it would be down to here. It would be down in this area, and then you would only have from there to there of color. But since there's all this missing black in a sense on a Kiawati, the result is, hold on, is it's filled in by pattern outlining. So you get all this pattern outlining, and this is the real reason Kiawatis make good good albinos and stuff. It's not because they have awesome color, because Kiawatis really don't have awesome color. What they do have is they have a reduced black situation that's creating more real estate for pattern outlining to come in and fill in the gaps of the missing black. So, this is also another high back diamond count animal that could be good for a lot of things. So here's a crazy Halma. I don't know if anybody knows, but this was my other female Halma that got egg bound and died. Yeah, this girl was in the States. The first year I bred Halmas, I did two breedings. I had my two pairs. And and she was actually friendly for a Halma. But yeah, I mean, I understand when you're dealing with reptiles, you lose stuff, but this was a hit. I mean, this snake, when this snake got a bound and died, this was a fucking hit, because as you can see, she's pretty much awesome. But if you look at her, she has some unique traits to her, and uh, let's take a look in here on the sides. I hope you can see this on Instagram, which if you can't, you can. It's whatever, because I know it's a 9:16 ratio. But this was an animal that had a more of a elongated back diamond, but it was more of a sharp, a more of a straight line with the elongated back diamond, and it came down and almost was touching the rosettes in some of these. It started to fade out here towards the back, but this was a snake that the genetics for it was so heavy on pattern outlining that it went into side banding, and as a result of that, the silver just got wiped out. So, like take a good look at this silver, like these little silver stripes, and then we'll swing back through a couple pictures real quick, and then go back to that. I mean, it's such a drastic difference, and and this is one of the reasons you really can't just get a perfect snake, because there isn't enough room to really put every single little piece of the puzzle together. I've been trying to do it, and I'm getting closer to the perfect snake, but to have, to take this snake and somehow get all these traits, and then somehow get all these traits, you just can't do it, because as you can see, there's just not enough room in any section of pattern to get everything that you want. So, yeah, dude, like, that was fucking 8 years ago, and I'm still fucking mad about this snake dying, man. Still mad about this snake dying. Yeah, but this snake, it might have been a morph. I don't know. One side of her was actually a different color than the other side. I've only seen this twice. I don't know what the fuck was going on with this snake, for its back pattern and stuff. So, I mean, this could have actually been a morph. And even if it wasn't a morph, for me to have been able to lock in that kind of back pattern and side pattern traits, oh my, yeah. I'm just so disgusted every time I look at this snake, because it died. But here is a very close. This snake is pretty close to that crazy Philippine that I showed, and if you see, the big difference on this is actually a fractalis. It has much wider rosettes here. And as you can see, they basically are the width of each diamond, but unlike that other snake, it managed to get another 2 or 3 scales thick of pattern outlining. So I was able to get a lot more contrast in here. So, ideally, this snake, if it was up to me, these rosettes would be just a hair, not as wide. They wouldn't be quite as wide, and the pattern outlining would have overshot a little bit more. But the real estate on this one, like, if you really go in close here, this is 3 scales, but into this section now you're getting into 4 scales, and from here to here, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think 7 scales thick black right there. And as you can see from that, I mean, this is taking up, the amount of area right here that's getting eaten up by the black is pretty significant. And unfortunately, I was able to get a little bit of pattern outlining fill in there. So I mean, this is something. The Fractalist line is still pretty, uh, was. I mean, it's a work in progress. To be honest, I mean, I mean, everything I do is a work in progress. If I'm being honest, but this is an example of where black is really taking up a lot of real estate in any particular area of the snake, and because of how wide the rosettes are, it's allowing for that black getting filled in, and you're still getting a smaller but decent amount of silver on the side. So this is actually, that's one of the things about Fractalis and Apocalypto. You are getting a pretty decent balance of thick black, okay pattern outlining, and some silver, because the silver does really help offset for some contrast, especially on the darker shit. Here is a Tadori Island. This is an excellent example of. I tried to get this snake imported, by the way, too, and I couldn't. So that sucked. But yeah, here was a wild caught Tadori, and this is an excellent example of uh, pattern outlining with the side banding that just took up a massive amount of real estate, and it was able. And one of the reasons it was able to eat up so much space is because of how thin the black is. Like if we go in here, you can see we're 1 to 1.5 scales average thick on black. So, and then you're still getting this nice little shade of silver. I have pictures somewhere of this snake when it got older and significantly larger, and I mean it looked even better as a subadult. Um, but one thing that would have been neat with this animal particularly would have been to, if you see where this white's coming up on the side, this white on the side, if you could have started selectively breeding for some connecting black and then have the white, and then it would have been, if you could have connected black here and then just had this white stripe that went right into the rosette. But another piece of this, another important piece of this pattern, with even with all this fucking color, you're getting much smaller rosettes in terms of width, and you're getting a lot of distance from the low end of the diamond across to the other low end of the diamond. So this snake itself, with this sharp fall off on the diamond, this would have been great for tiger. You're getting a decent amount of distance in between back diamonds. They are integrated a little bit, but any like this snake would have solved a lot of striping issues, and at the same time, you could have got a massive amount of color on the side. Whereas, with that crazy high silver, uh, thick black one out of Philippines, and the Fractalis with the longer um, side rosettes, you're running into a situation where you might end up with some white side banding. But yeah, man, I was really trying to get this fucking snake into the U.S. I would have loved to get any of these fucking snakes in the U.S. I thought I had some more. Let me see what else I got here. Um, Hold on. That's my okay. Hold on. I thought I had. Uh, okay, here is a Sumatran, and this is kind of like your classic. This is kind of like your classic retic right here. And I like this look. I really do, but it doesn't do as much for me anymore because I'm so used to all the crazy shit, and when you see this snake, and I mean I love the way this snake looks, but you compare it to something like that, that's a wild caught Halma. It's not one of mine versus that, you know. Um I'm going to take, I'm going to take this over this. And the reason for that is this snake's pattern structure would be great for um, Mocha. It would be great for Rennick Ghost. Extreme. I mean, like Rennick Ghost and Mocha is something where you kind of want this look because you want some high popping silver, and it has a ton of high popping silver already. So you got like this would be a good snake to put the yellowhead gene into. If you put the yellowhead gene into this, you brightened up this, because this is about what, 3 layers, 4 layers of pattern outlining with some black speckling. So you pop the yellowhead gene on there, you make this silver even brighter, you add some yellow in here, then you throw it on a Rennet Ghost or a Mocha, and now you have this incredible looking snake. Where you do that, with this Halma here, I just don't think it's gonna. I don't think it'll look as good. I mean, a Mocha might look cool, but it's not going to look nearly as good in Rennet Ghost, because one of the things that makes Rennet Ghost so nice is all the white on it, and that was a popular misconception that Rennet Ghost has a look. No, Rennet Ghost doesn't have a look. Rennet Ghost was either out of Sumatra or Malaysia, I forget which, and it had a natural look of this. So that look that everybody likes on the old Rennet Ghost, they're not liking the morph. You're actually liking this pattern structure of a standard, two thick black to 2.5 thick black, a decent silver, and a minimal amount of us pattern outlining, and just a little bit of color coming down under the rosettes with a rather narrow, not wide rosette. Because like when you look at this, okay, look at this one right here. The back diamond is from here to here, and this rosette only is covering from here to here. So you're not getting much coverage, and that because of that you're not getting a fill in with black and or pattern outlining, so you're getting a lot of silver. So um, and this snake might be cool as shit in Mocha, or it might be too dark, but platinum, any kind of albino, sunfire, pecan might actually go well with this to kind of offset some color, offset some pattern loss. Uh, I mean, this is going to make, you might get some striping, but it's probably going to make some nice tigers and stuff too. So it's really important to understand the type of pattern structure we're working with before you start uh, trying to make morphs look better. And here's I forget what part of the Philippines. This might be Luzon, or I don't think that's, no, I forget what part of the Philippines this is. But here's an interesting look too, because you got a little bit of crossover on the back diamonds, but they're pretty round, but you're still getting a decent 2 to 3 thickness of black, but you're also getting a disconnect from the rosette, so you're getting some color in between. I mean, this is a great looking snake. This would be a very good snake, obviously in Indo-Caramel, but this would be a great animal for something like Aztec. This would really make an Aztec pop, and this would also make a good pecan, because this is personally, I like the look at this, but a look of this, but at the same time I really don't, because I like sharp back diamonds, but that's just a perfect personal preference. Like I really like how it looks down here in the tail area. Um, but once you get into here, you get some more rounded stuff. So if you're into more of a rounded pattern, this is a good snake. And you even see where there's separation between the back diamonds, the pattern outlining fills in the gaps there, and you get that. So I mean, you would have some nice oranges and yellows if say this was an albino coming up through here, creating some nice contrast in between some of the back diamonds. Just overall, I mean, but this has also got a minimal amount of silver. As you can see here, it's because it's got a lot of wider, decently wide rosettes too. So, that's a great looking snake, and you could do a lot of stuff with this snake. Yeah, here's a Manila. Um, yeah, this is a Manila. This is just a fantastic looking retic here. Um, and we're talking about color. We're not talking about color spectrum, but if we were, this is. This is about as good as it gets for color spectrum. So, just a completely aberrant animal, shattered back pattern, tighter back pattern, so they're not really connecting to any of the rosettes. This is actually a double rosette here. Um, Two rosettes got, because of the back diamonds got so messed up, the rosettes stuck together. A lot of black speckling, which is pretty common for Philippines, and then a lot of the pattern outlining filling in the gaps. So, and that's the thing. That's the thing that happens with all of this. Like, no matter what, you're only getting three. You got three options. You got black, you got pattern outlining, and you got essentially silver. That's it. And you're getting, that's it. There's three parts to all of this. Um, and once you understand you're essentially working with three parts of pattern structure, start identifying what's going on, and then start studying. Look at morphs, look at what they do, and then look at how morphs have reacted once they're put with other morphs and once they've been put with other localities, and start trying to figure out, okay, so this is what I'm seeing from this back pattern structure, or this pattern structure in general once it's put with X. And that's how I figure stuff out. It's not because I'm fucking a super genius, which I am. It's actually, it's been a lot of me just looking at pictures like a idiot, and studying, and figuring out exactly what's going on. Because I mean, this is a really tight back pattern, but you're still getting, if you zoom in outside of the neck, um, this is a really interesting pattern here, because you have a back diamond, and then you have a back pattern outlining, and then you have some sort of genetic craziness going that threw another layer of black in there, and then you got pattern outlining again here. So, and then you get, essentially very similar colors from some smaller side banding that's very similar to the colors up here. So I mean, this snake here is, I mean, I'm not saying we should sneak stuff into the U.S., but uh, I wouldn't hold it against anybody that if they manage to get some of these brought in. Let me tell you. Yeah, here's an inch. This is an ambon. I think it's an ambon. It's ambon or CRM. I don't know. I think it's ambon. I'll have to go back and look. But here's another interesting snake. Very very long diamonds. Very long back diamonds here. Decently wide, and this is a shitty picture, so it's hard to see. Decently wide color outlining in between, and even as sharp and straight as some of these lines are, with how long the distance is here, and this is going to, like, I'm going to say, if you, this snake here, as sharp as these back diamonds are, they're very long, and because of that, if you throw this to tiger, you're probably going to get striping. Unless there were some other traits going on in there, you might be able to offset that if you use like a super dwarf tiger or a different morph with the tiger, and threw in a gene to hopefully separate some of the back diamonds a little bit. Then you could offset it, but yeah, I mean, yeah, this is a unique looking snake just because of how long some of these diamonds are. And then you got the black down, in between them. So I mean, I don't even know. This is such a weird looking snake that most people would look at and think, isn't that weird? I can tell you right now, I'd have no idea on what kind of reason. You could get so many mixed results with this animal itself. Because I mean, once you get down, because these back diamonds stop being the way they are and go into a totally different structure, the last third or quarter of the snake. So to have something that's completely random like this, having black inside of it, having basically a black line down the back, in this case, this would be a trial and error type breeding, to be honest, because this is such an overall weird structure. Um, that I don't even know what you would get if you bred this snake. Honestly, I don't know if any of this is helpful, but yeah, that's it. So we'll go back. I guess we'll show these off again because I'm just gonna show this snake again because it's fucking awesome. Uh, but yeah, so let me know if any of this was helpful. I didn't really plan anything. I just rambled. So, okay, I'm gonna take. Oh, I didn't even go over this snake. This is, and I've been talking about selectively breeding for different traits in super dwarfs. And this is an F1 Kalatoa that I produced, I don't know, like 13 years ago or something. And this was a unique pattern structure that is floating around in Kalatoa, and hopefully we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring back this structure in my old line and really start going hard on sharp back diamonds, decent black, decent colors. So this is a great looking snake. This is probably one of the best looking Kalatoas that's ever been produced, and naturally I produced it. But we're gonna start trying to get these looks back. But this was an interesting snake. It's had almost like an aberrant back pattern. At the same time, decently sharp back diamonds, a little bit of pattern outlining underneath the rosettes while rosettes were connecting. And on a if you look in right here, I mean, there's a lot of black right in some of these areas. Especially for a super dwarf. I mean, it's not a lot of black for fucking anything else, but for a Kalatoa, this is a decent amount of black, and with how rounded these rosettes are, I mean, there's no indication that this snake would actually stripe out, even with all this interconnection back diamond stuff going on. I would have loved to. I would love to see my buddy Sean is working on this project, and I'd love for him to produce some stuff like this and run, and we'll run this shit into like Fractalis and run this into Apocalypto. And if we can bring these traits together with some of the specific lines of Ternate I'm working with, we're gonna really be making some unique stuff. So, but yeah, that's it for that. Let me know if that was helpful at all. It probably wasn't because I fucking ramble so much. So let me get out of screen share, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I don't know. Is anybody got any questions or anything? I probably shouldn't have done this as a live. I should have probably just done a video. Um, but yeah, I mean, if anybody has any questions or anything like that, let me know. I think I'm lagging. Yeah, let me know if I'm lagging. I feel like I'm lagging behind here a little bit because I'm not seeing a whole lot of stuff. I'm gonna close that. Okay. And close that. And all right, now I'm back. Sorry, I was talking so fucking much. I didn't even read any of the shit getting said. Side pattern is awesome. Looks like mountain peaks. Wow. Wasn't repeatable. Never tried the breeding again. I'm guessing if you're talking about that Halma, no, she got egg bound and died. Um, I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Cool. That would be cool. New segment. People send you pics of their snakes and you analyze their patterns. Yeah, Duran, we could do that. We could do that. Yeah, we can do a Rodney analysis on color and pattern. I like doing that because I'm fucking weird. What's that picture of a corn butt? Yes, that's exactly what it is. You nailed it. Nice idea any day. Hold on, my phone's fucking blowing up. Uh, I don't think shit. I don't think I can see anybody's comments from fucking IG. Hold on, let me jump into IG. I am really not good at technology, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean I can see some stuff. No, it's not lagging. All right. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Spencer, unfortunately, I have not figured out how to get the IG comments to come into Riverside. So we're working on that. We are definitely working on that. So, but yeah, yeah. If anybody's got any questions, any comments, hit me up with them. I'll try to keep. I'm gonna take Instagram down here to this one so I can kind of see some fucking comments if anybody makes them. Okay, I'm not lagging. I don't think I'm lagging. I think usually there's like a 20-second delay. It just seems like the delay's longer than it usually is for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, the delay just seems a little bit longer. So, yeah, but yeah, like I said, if any questions, comments, let me know. I'm gonna figure out how to put images into my ATEM. I need to get a mini SDI to do it, or I don't know, whatever, mini SD, yeah, a mini SD card, uh, and then I can just plug them in there, and I can press a button, and put them on the screen. So I don't know. Yeah, let me know if that made things more confusing or less confusing. Because in my brain, I'm like, I'm making sense and I'm making this easier, and sometimes I'm actually making everything much more difficult to understand. But I mean, that's honestly how I what I was showing there and what I was talking about. That's all that basic analysis of what's going on with color and pattern is how I've managed to create all the looks I've created. Um, some of it's been trial and error, but on stuff like the Apocalypto and the Fractalis, marbles, sunfires, platies, all of that stuff I've said before they've hatched that like these are going to be crazy. I'm there is a chance that I might that one crazy Philippine uh some of the crazy Philippines I showed, I might actually be producing this the Faluku versions of those this year. I'm really hopeful that the male I bred to the Mindanao, hopefully I get a good clutch. Uh, I might get some crazy shit. Yeah, so some of the crazy shit you just saw, I might be producing some stuff like that here in the states this year. I mean, well, the Fractalis is already here, but that high silver crazy fucking Philippine, the other Philippine with a crazy ass back pattern. Hopefully, if I don't produce them this season, like we're getting closer and closer, and with Sean working on selectively breeding the more aberrant Calatoas, we're doing we're doing better than people think. I mean, I know the U.S. seems like a fucking joke with its production compared to EU, and Yakub and a lot of the stuff going on in Indo. But you got to remember they have access to things we don't have access. Not that it would matter. I mean, everyone, a lot of people here would just get them and just breed them into fucking golden children anyways. So it's been like, oh, golden child, titanium, fucking super tiger. Let's do it. Uh, but I mean, if I had access to what they had access to, we would be the overall production in US would look very similar to what we see overseas. But there's getting to be a lot more people, a lot more interested in this selective breeding, and so that's why I'm putting this shit out. And plus, I want to watch all the new people. Like, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm not an asshole. I go out of my way to help everybody, but I really like to help the new people because I want to watch the new people crush all the old people that I always used to fight with, so then I can make fun of them. And I know that's like super petty and retarded, but whatever. I'll be super petty and retarded. I don't care. It's going to be so funny this year to watch the newer super dwarf breeders blow Garrett the fuck out of the water. Like it's like I can't. It's just hilarious to watch, and it's going to be so hilarious to watch some of the other breeders put the mainland people to shame, with their production this year. It's it. you know. And I've warned, and then fuck them people, because I've warned them for 15 years that they needed to get their shit together and start learning, and they're just like, fuck you, Rodney, you like drama. So, what do you think an Aztec and Kalatoa silver phase would look like? I think it would look pretty nice. I think it. I guess it depends on how aberrant you can get it, because uh, chances are you're not going to get any side striping. You're going to get very small rosettes. So if you could get a not only an aberrant pattern, but you need a back pattern that the diamonds aren't lined up; they're offset. So if you could get an offset sharp back aberrant pattern with maybe a little bit of black in the back diamonds too for Aztec to work with, yeah, I think you could make a pretty neat looking snake with that. Yeah, very very neat looking snake with that. I would take, you know, whatever you're gonna do, I would try to get Mindanao and Ternate into Aztec. Um, yeah, Mindanao might stripe them out a little bit more than you want, so you're gonna have to offset that. But I mean, I do have a clutch of Ternates in the incubator specifically for Aztec, because I have a female that's I've been raising up that I want to use for. Well, it's not just Aztec, it's Tiger, it's Ocelot. So I'm putting together a Ternate line for this stuff. Uh, this shit takes a while. So I mean, I got my one girl. She's a red phase. She's got complete back diamond separation. I'd like to get a little thicker black on her. And I was gonna take a video of her today to put her on this, and I fucking forgot. Next time I'll have to take a video of her. She's probably like 6 feet now, uh, or 5.5 feet. So I just need to put like two. I'm gonna try to put 3 feet on her by next breeding season. So she's just gonna be eating a lot for the next 6 to 9 months. Um, with her being a red face, but that'll get you can wash that out if you want more silver with a Kalatoa. So, but yeah, yeah, see that's what the Silverline Kalatoas, Silverline Anthrax, all that is an animal that doesn't have pattern outlining. That's what it is. It's an animal that has more silver and less pattern outlining. That's the only thing that's going on. Um, so you're going to have to breed for those traits. You're going to have to find animals that have little pattern outlining and higher silver. And if you can get slightly thicker black, then you're really golden there, because that'll give you more opportunity for pattern, for what you're doing with your pattern. So, how many people are watching on Instagram? It's telling me there's one. I hope I'm not streaming for just one person. But that's okay if I am. I don't care. Hold on. I'm gonna see how many. I'm gonna see how many is watching me. It better be hundreds. I don't even see myself. That's fucking bullshit. Hold on. RNB reptiles. I don't know. I don't know how the hell to tell. Nope. I don't think there's anybody watching me on Instagram. I think it's just me watching myself. That's okay. I like me. I'll watch me all day. So, that's my goal. My future breeding high silver with little yellow. Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna have to. Yeah. If you want to reduce the pattern outlining, yeah, just look for animals that have high silver and thick black. Because if you have high silver and thick black, you're automatically in a situation where pattern outlining's been reduced naturally, just because there's no room for it. So that's honestly your best bet there. So let me jump on to. I'm gonna hold on. Come on, motherfucker. There we go. All right. What is this shit? Why's my shit being stupid? So, but yeah, if you guys are good, no questions. I'm sure you all have a perfect example or perfect understanding of everything I said. High Silver Mocha Aztec. There's 28 people on YouTube. High Silver. Yeah, I'm working on a High Silver. Uh, I'm working on like a medium. I want a lot of silver on Mocha, but I also want the yellowhead gene on it because it lightens everything up, and Mocha lightens everything up. So, uh, I think Mocha. I think Mocha is going to need like a fine balance. I think it's going to need a yellowhead. Um, I think there's going to be some things that we can do to Mocha to make it pretty impressive. So, yeah, my Mocha, I got a male that I'm raising up to get those projects started. So I have a yellowhead. I have a yellowhead. It looks like a citrus. It looks like one of those. So, yeah. So we're working on that. Yeah. Okay. I see where somebody tried to ask a question on. So, okay, hold on. Let me see. So if my female, this is on Instagram. So if my female is not on the cold side anymore, it's not on the cold side anymore. She's on the cold side wrapped in a beehive or like a tight ball, like she's sitting on eggs. You think I missed the window for breeding? Or she's sitting on a pile of eggs. you might you might want to look. She's on the hot side. No, they usually go back to after they usually go back to breeding, to be honest. Yeah, they usually go back to or yeah, back to fucking breeding. Back to the hot side. Sorry if I didn't see that. This is why I need a third monitor. So or figure out how to get these to go into Riverside. So yeah, but no, there's so well, I mean it depends. Did you breed her while she was on the cold side? And usually they're on the cold side for a while. I mean they're usually over there for a good month or so. Yeah, they're usually on there for a good month or so. Um, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know if I'll have to take a look at Eric's het rainbows, but I've never seen I could say this: the yellowhead gene develops later. It doesn't show right out of the egg, so you can have a light, like weird colored head, but if it's an actual yellowhead gene, it doesn't actually show up. Um, it actually doesn't show up right out the egg. So, but I mean, you can have a very bright looking color to it. So, yeah, I'll have to take a look. I'm not 100% there. I have to send Eric some of his ternate head ocelots, and their colors are getting ridiculous. Okay, I'm on YouTube now, and I didn't breed her on the cold side. I put the Super Maluku that's young, so I don't know. I went too early maybe. I'd throw him back in there and see what's up. What's she doing? Is she eating? Is she showing interest in food, or what's going on with her? Yeah, what's her behavior doing? Also, pull her out and see if she's swollen. You know, if she's all see if her last half of her body is kind of like tight and not as like movable. There's a lot of stuff there that you can look for. I mean, I'm pissed that I couldn't get live on Facebook. I really need to figure that out. I don't understand why it let me go live and then all of a sudden it didn't. So let me see. I think we got some more shit. More. What the fuck is that shit? I think we got some more comments coming in. Uh, it's like a lime green. It looks brighter than my yellow head as a baby. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's probably just a weird color tint, but yeah, for some reason, yellowheads develop at like 4 to 5 feet. That's when they come in. It's weird. It is. You can kind of tell because they're overall a lighter color and they're usually brighter. But yeah, you definitely got to wait out the yellowheads. Oh shit! What time is it? It's 7. Yeah, I got to jump off here quite directly. Um, I got to go get something to eat and then call it. So, but yeah, if you got any more questions about the breeding stuff, just hit me up. Send me a message. I do got to jump off here. Oh, hold on. You got it. You got it in time. All right. She's not eating. Yeah, the last half of her is tight and is there was a football shape. I really wasn't trying to breed this year, but she went anyways. Yeah, I want to say she's gravid. I want to say she's gravid. Yeah, just keep track of her shed cuz if she got a football shape, throw the male in, keep trying to breed her and go off her shed. So, yeah, if you want put that information together and we'll look through it. Best pod combo. I would say the best pod combo is going to be. I don't think it's been done yet. Um, I don't know if you saw the pied genetic stripe where something finally dominated the pie gene. Uh, but I think anything that's going to dominate the pie gene and add structure back to it is going to be what's best. So I don't think we know what that is yet. So yeah, yeah. We're working to get my info back on Retic Nation. If I keep being mean to them, I think they're going to let me back on. So we're going to keep working at them. So you know what's fucked up? You know what's fucked up about? I put it to a vote on the group whether or not to throw out the Retic admins, and they're mad at Daily. Leave my fucking hair thing alone. Um, and they're mad that I threw them out. I let everybody vote, and everybody voted throw them out. And then the second highest vote was send them tampons and Midol. Let them stay came in last. So that's what everybody Daily. That's what everybody felt. Everybody felt that they should let me on, and if the admins aren't going to be reciprocal, throw them the fuck out. And I just think Jake, Shane, Travis, and Chris should do the right thing and either let me in or put it to a vote. Put it to a vote on Retic Nation whether or not they should let me back in. You know what I'm saying? That's what somebody should do watching this. Someone go on Retic Nation and say, hey, since Rodney put it to a vote and they chose to throw you guys out, why don't you put it to a vote on whether or not to let them back in? Let the members of Retic Nation decide, and if they decide they don't want me on there, then I won't argue it. I'm not going to argue with what people want. But I'm willing to bet that people on Retic Nation would love to have like this live stream right on Retic Nation. You know, I haven't seen that. It's interesting. Yeah, it's actually pretty impressive. So I'm excited to see how that pattern that actually stayed translated. So I'm thinking Indo Caramel Genetic Stripe Sunfire might actually be the best pied, or actually, this is what I think is going to be the best pied. After seeing that snake, Genetic Stripe Motley Sunfire Indo pied. So someone run out and do that. Prove me right. I bet you that's going to end up being the nicest pod. So, but yeah. Someone go tell Retic, the Retic Nation that they should not be pussies and they should do a vote on whether or not to let me back in. But I'm going to go get something to eat. And as always, thanks for everybody coming on and hanging out. And yeah. And tomorrow I'm going to try to have my shit together on how to share stuff. It's going to be whatever Wednesday. If you guys want to come on, show off your shit, talk about stuff. I think Dylan's coming on. I'm probably going to show off some Kalatoas. Spencer's, we're going to be multi-streaming. Spencer's going to be on. We're going to try to be on like 5 or 6 different platforms at once. So yeah, so jump on tomorrow. All right, I'm out of here. Later.